Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Wednesday, September the 4th. We have an 8-game main slate tonight. We're going to start off with pitching and work our way through the pitcher player pool. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitchers that I like for this 8-game slate. We'll talk about DraftKings and Yahoo pricing. Then we'll look at 3 specific hitters that I like for this slate, and towards the end of the video, we will cover some stacks that I'll be going to, some of my favorite stacks on the slate. Before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. You're going to want to make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to be uploading a lot of MLB videos towards the end of the season. Going to be uploading daily MLB videos. With NFL season approaching, I will be uploading a lot of NFL videos as well. I do already have a video up for the showdown slate on Thursday night for the Thursday night football game between the Packers and the Bears. So if you want to check that video out, I would really appreciate it. I believe probably today on Wednesday afternoon, I'll be uploading my Week 1 video for the Sunday main slate. I'll have a video up for DraftKings salaries for some DraftKings picks, and then I'll have a video up for Yahoo picks as well because I'm going to be playing a lot of Yahoo for NFL. Pretty much play there for every sport, but the tournaments they're running for NFL are just too good to pass up. So I'll have 2 separate videos out. 2 separate NFL videos out on Wednesday. Make sure you guys check those out. Let's go ahead and look at pitching for today. At the top of the pitcher player pool, Shane Bieber is our most expensive option. He's $11,500 on DraftKings, and on Yahoo, he's also the most expensive pitcher at $54. So this is a great spot for Shane Bieber. I played a ton of Mike Clevinger on Tuesday because I really like the matchup against the White Sox. Same matchup for Bieber. He's just as good of a pitcher as Clevinger is, gets a lot of strikeouts. He's definitely going to be a guy that I try and pay up for today. There are a lot of cheap bats I like, so it's pretty easy to get Bieber in there. Plus, there's some cheap pitching as well. We had some good cheap pitching on Tuesday night, and we kind of have the same on Wednesday night. So paying up for Bieber is going to be something I look to do. Just such a good matchup. The K should be there. For what it's worth, he has struggled against the White Sox. He's only averaged 13 DraftKings points through 2 games against them, but that's not really a concern for me. It's a great matchup. The White Sox strike out a ton. They have the lowest total on the slate right now, or one of the lowest totals, I think right behind the Rockies. Bieber's a heavy favorite. He should be able to produce here. It's a great matchup. Really like Shane Bieber. Obviously the top projected pitcher on the slate by a pretty large margin. So I'm going to be playing a ton of Bieber today. If you don't want to pay up for Bieber, I think the next best option is either Zach Gallen at $9,600 against the Padres or Hyun-Jin Ryu at $9,200 against the Rockies. On Yahoo, well, talking about DraftKings, it's pretty hard to get like Ryu and Bieber or Gallen and Bieber. It's just you're spending too much at pitcher, and you don't really have much salary for bats. But on Yahoo, their pricing is a lot softer when it comes to pitcher pricing. So I think going Bieber Ryu on Yahoo makes a ton of sense. If I was playing cash games today, that would probably be the pairing that I would go with in cash games. That's going to be a pairing that I use a lot in my tournament lineups. I do like Ryu a lot here against the Rockies. It's a really good matchup, getting the Rockies outside of Coors Field. This is a team that does have some strikeouts in its lineup versus left-handed pitching. Ryu is also a very heavy favorite here. Just such a good spot. The pricing is nice as well. He has been struggling a bit lately, so that's kind of why you're seeing him at a really cheap price. But he has had some tough matchups against the Braves, against the Yankees. The Diamondbacks aren't the easiest matchup. He was actually cruising in that game. He was like 4 scoreless innings, had like 5 Ks, and then literally it all went downhill in 1 inning. He gave up like 6 runs in 1 inning. So I don't really count that last start against the D-backs. He was actually pitching pretty well. Just kind of all went downhill. And that 5th inning, I think, is when he got pulled. I do like Ryu a lot here, though, against the Rockies. I'm not sure if he's faced them yet at home. I know he's faced them in Coors. Hasn't pitched against the Rockies yet this year at home. Definitely a spot where he should produce. So I'll be going to Bieber Ryu a lot on Yahoo. It's pretty tough to do that on DraftKings, but if you find enough cheap bats to make it work, I think Ryu is in play at $9,200. He does feel like one of the more underpriced studs on the slate. Like Ryu should be up there with Shane Bieber in price. The fact that he's $9,200 really baffles me today. But let's talk about some of these cheap guys, some of these guys we can play with Shane Bieber. So there's a couple that I do like. You have Jacob Junis at $7,500 against the Tigers. He's for sure in play for me. If you're going really cheap, Michael Wacha at home against the Giants, I think is playable at $5,900. But my favorite guy is probably Trevor Williams. I do like Trevor Williams a lot here at home against the Marlins. it is a really good matchup. This is a Marlins team that rolls out a lot of righties. If you're gonna play Trevor Williams, you want him to be against righties, or you want him to face a lot of righties, because he does struggle more with lefties. And the only lefties in the projected lineup right now, there's only one in the projected lineup, and that's Neil Walker. You do have some strikeouts in this lineup as well. Alfaro will strike out. Garrett Cooper is probably one of the better hitters for the Marlins, but he will strike out. Lewis Brinson will strike out. You do have the pitcher in there as well, which is pretty much a free K. Pretty low total for the Marlins as well, kind of like you would expect, 3.9 total. It's a good pitcher's park. I like Trevor Williams a lot. I think he's in a really good spot. He's been pitching better lately. He went into Coors and actually pitched pretty well. Only allowed 3 runs through 7 innings. He's got over 20 DraftKings points in his last 2 starts. I think he keeps that up. I think we can get 20 DraftKings points out of Trevor Williams here. And I like him a lot at just 6,600 on DraftKings. So I think that's it for pitching. I think it pretty much talks about all the guys I'm going to be going to. I don't think Edwin Jackson's the worst play. The Royals are one of my favorite stacks because I just always look to stack against Edwin Jackson. I don't think he's very good. But if you were ever going to play Edwin Jackson, it would probably be here against this Royals team because the Royals do have a really bad lineup. We saw Jackson was able to have some success against the Royals when he faced them. In his last time he faced them, he was actually pretty good. It's not the same lineup though. You do have Alberto Mondesi back, who is a really good hitter. It's a tough lineup, like 1 through 5. There's a lot of easy outs at the bottom, but I still think I'd prefer the Royals bats over Jackson. But if you really want to punt, I don't think Jackson's the worst play at 4,400. I'd definitely play him over Senzatella, and I'd play him over Nova if you're going that cheap. But I'd probably just try and get up to Michael Wacha if possible, because I just feel better about Wacha's matchup against the really bad Giants team. But let's go ahead and talk about some bats now. I did mention the Royals. They're a team I like quite a bit today. Whit Merrifield, one of my favorite plays on the slate on both sides. He's 4,700 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's at $17, which I just think is way too cheap here for this matchup with Edwin Jackson. So Edwin Jackson, just a terrible pitcher. Gives up home runs to pretty much both sides of the plate. Doesn't really get strikeouts. I really like the 1 through 5, even the 1 through 6 from the Royals. You do have a lot of value at the bottom of the lineup, but I don't know if I want to go to those guys because they're just not very good hitters. But Ryan O'Hearn's very cheap, and he has a ton of power. If he can just put the bat on the ball, he can hit it out of the stadium. Gordon's a pretty decent hitter. He doesn't strike out much. He's very cheap at 3,900. And then the 1 through 4 guys, Merrifield, Mondesi, Soler, and Dozier, all have a lot of power. So I do like the Royals quite a bit here. I like Merrifield a ton on both sides. Ryan O'Hearn I like a lot on DraftKings where he's so cheap. He's only 3,400. On Yahoo, it's a little bit different because they did price up O'Hearn for this matchup. He is up to $15, which I don't think is really necessary. I do like Alex Gordon, though, on Yahoo because he's still really cheap. He's only $9. So I would say from the Royals side, my 2 favorite plays on Yahoo are probably Merrifield and Gordon. And then on DraftKings, it's Merrifield and O'Hearn. But I'm for sure going to have a lot of 5-man stacks of the Royals. They do have a 5.6 total. We usually never see the Royals have a high total, but they're getting some respect from Vegas here with this matchup against Edwin Jackson. I really like the 1 through 6 from the Royals. Definitely going to be a stack that I go pretty heavy on here. Edwin Jackson, just not a pitcher I believe in. And then another team I do like quite a bit is the Indians here versus Ivan Nova. Ivan Nova is another pitcher I usually always look to stack against. I just don't think he's very good. Doesn't really get strikeouts. It's a really good Indians lineup. It's an Indians lineup that does have a lot of power. Yasiel Puig's a guy that stands out as just being too cheap for the power that he has. He's very cheap on Yahoo. They priced him down. Actually, he was like $16 on Tuesday. Now he's $12, which doesn't make much sense given the matchup with Nova. I'm going to be stacking the Indians as well. I'm going to have a lot of 5-man Indian stacks. Lindor and Santana are pretty expensive, but you have Mercado at 4,100, assuming he bats second. You have Puig at 4,300. If Kipnis is in the lineup, he's only 4,200. You have a cheap catcher in Roberto Perez at 3,700. Tyler Naquin, even though he's batting at the bottom of the lineup, he does have some power, and he's very cheap at 3,100. Right now, the Indians do have one of the higher totals on the slate. They're definitely going to be a team I look to get to. I do like the Indians quite a bit to go along with my Royal stacks. Yasiel Puig, one of my favorite plays from that Indians lineup. Just a ton of power versus right-handed pitching, and a pitcher in Nova who will give up home runs to righties. So these are my 5 plays today for DraftKings and for Yahoo. Now we'll talk about some stacks before we end the video. So my 2 favorite stacks, pretty much by a mile, are going to be the Royals here versus Edwin Jackson and the Indians versus Ivan Nova. Those are 2 teams I like quite a bit, 2 teams I'm definitely going to be getting some exposure to. The Dodgers do have one of the higher totals on the slate against Antonio Senzatella. You could definitely look to stack them because Senzatella is just not a good pitcher. Even when he's outside of Coors, he's still a guy you can always look to stack against. It's a pretty expensive lineup. They don't have a ton of value. Assuming Gavin Lux leads off again, he led off on Tuesday. If he leads off again, he could be a good value at $3,700. But other than that, you are going to be spending for a lot of these guys. But still, I think the upside is there versus Senzatella is just not a good pitcher. So Dodgers are for sure in play, but I would probably have them behind the Royals and behind the Indians. If you want to go to a team like maybe the Twins against Erod, Erod's not a guy I usually stack against, but the Twins do have a very good lineup, a lot of power. They do have a 5.2 total. Same with the Red Sox. I usually never stack against Jose Barrios, but the Red Sox just have such a good lineup. They're still really expensive, so they're probably going to be very low owned. Guys like Devers, Bogarts, Martinez are going to be really low owned today. So if you're paying down at pitching and you want to get a contrarian to stack that still has upside, the Red Sox are probably the way to go. We know how good that lineup is, really no matter who they're facing. But I think that is it for stacks today, guys. I think we pretty much covered all the stacks I'm going to be going to. I think that is it for the video, so hopefully you did enjoy this video and hopefully it did help you. Like I said at the beginning, I will be uploading 2 NFL videos on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, I'll have a video out for DraftKings Week 1 picks for Sunday, and then I'll have picks for Yahoo as well. Both of those videos will be out probably Wednesday around like 3 or 4 Eastern time. Make sure you check those out. I would really appreciate it. If you have been enjoying these MLB videos, then make sure you drop a like down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you need to hit me up on Twitter, if you need to message me, feel free to do that. My Twitter is @thedfs_goat. Feel free to give me a follow if you have any questions, or you can leave any questions, any comments down in the comment section below. I do reply to pretty much every comment. But yeah, guys, good luck tonight. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.